If you've got hip hop questions, I've got hip hop answers. Message me right now on Snapchat at d.respect. That's d.respect on Snapchat. Send me your name, where you're from, your question, maybe social security number, sample of your blood, the donation. Let's not make it too complicated, okay? This week's question comes from Faraz from Ottawa, Canada, and he asks, "Hey D, you've covered Eminem and Jay-Z many times before, so I was wondering who you thought out-rapped who on the classic record Renegade from Jay-Z's Blueprint." Thank you for the question, Faraz. This is a question that I've gotten a few times over the years. And I think Nas is, the person who created this sort of controversy, if you could consider it controversy, when he said on Ether, Eminem murdered you on your own shit. And there's several reasons why I think people believe that Eminem did that. One of the reasons why I think Eminem did is when you consider the fact that Renegade is, of course, an older record that was sort of refurbished by Jay-Z and Eminem. Royce da 5'9" was originally on the song with Eminem. It was supposed to be part of their Bad Meets Evil series. They replaced him and put Jay-Z in there. So when you think about that, about the fact that Jay-Z has heard this record before, I don't think it's a record that he was listening to for months and months, and then he said, I have to recreate this. I'm sure it was something political, and he wanted to throw Eminem on the album, and, it's a great record, so why not just go for it? But Jay-Z's heard those lyrics before, and the fact that Eminem's lyrics could be even remotely close to Jay-Z's after probably, him writing it years before Jay-Z wrote his verse on the Blueprint, then you have to give Eminem the leg up on that one because those are old verses. Technique is one of the reasons why it's very hard to outshine Eminem on any record, because that is what puts him above many other rappers. It's that he's so technically sound. He can execute things so well on a record that it gives you the illusion sometimes, the perception that he outshines everyone on his record. I mean, I told you guys recently that I felt that Big Sean had a better verse on that new song where Eminem apparently dissed Donald Trump. So with technique comes that feeling of it sounding better. Eminem will obviously sacrifice lyrics for delivery. This new style that he has now is more of an emphasis on that. The fact that he'll just basically say anything just because it's pieced together so well and it sounds good. Lyrics aren't at the forefront of what he's doing. I don't think they really ever were. I think there was just a moment in Eminem's career, and this is why he's considered by many to be the greatest of all time, is because he was able to gel technique and words together at this high level where he didn't compromise either. He didn't compromise lyrics for technique or technique for lyrics. He never did that. He's doing that now. Because if you listen to verses from him now, took Hannibal and the mandible in the closet, put in the closet, taking it off it, then in an office, and in an office, whatever the fuck. I sound like I'm speaking German now, but you understand what I mean. The style that he's doing now, that I really think the first time I heard it was on that Shady Cypher, that BT Cypher, where he was with Royce, and he was just going off a cappella, but it was just this constant, this redundant sort of cadence that, like I said, I have to get used to. Jay-Z started off the song perfectly by stating, "Motherfuckers say that I'm foolish. I only talk about jewels. Do you fools listen to music or do you just skim through it?" Jay-Z's approach on this song was very poetic. It was. And it's more illustrated in the second verse when he says, "What you hollering? Gotta pay rent, bring dollars in. By the bodega. Iron under my coat, feeling braver. Do-rags wrapping my waves up. Pockets full of hope." This sort of reminds me of Kendrick Lamar's Control verse being just the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. And then Jay Electronica comes in. What's Jay Electronica's first verses in that song? It's "You could bet name and Earth, Wind, and the Fire, and whatever the fuck it was that Jay Electronic said. Nobody was listening. Nobody was listening after that verse because he took such a poetic approach to at least the beginning of the verse that it just wasn't going to hold up, in contrast to Kendrick's call out of the whole entire fucking industry. So Jay-Z's approach was very poetic on this song, and I think Jay-Z overall is more of a poet than Eminem. He puts more care into words, or maybe he used to. You know, Watch the Throne Jay-Z, Magna Carta Holy Grail Jay-Z, maybe not so much. But Blueprint Jay-Z, absolutely. Some people might say, well, Jay-Z can't storytell the way that Eminem does. That's very true. But at the same time, there's more imagery in Jay-Z's lyrics, and just basically with what I read right there. I mean, you know, by the bodega, iron under my coat, feeling braver. Do-rags wrapping my waves, a pockets full of hope. I had nothing. That's all I had. I had a pocket full of hope. I was abundant on hope, but I didn't have any money. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very poetic, his approach that he took to this song. So I can see why people feel that he was outshined. Lyrically, yes, he was outshined. The way M started it off, like I said, somebody with technique will give you the impression that they are crushing it. Since I'm in a position to talk to these kids and they listen, I ain't no politician, but I'll kick it with them a minute. You see, they call me a menace, and if the shoe fits, I wear it. But if it don't, you know, it sounds so good that you're like, oh my God, he is out rapping. By the way, I've always hated this term, out rapping. I've always hated. I think this started around the time when Lil Wayne really became a thing, where it was like Wayne could out rap anybody. Like, he can out rap. What does that mean? What does it mean exactly to out rap someone? Because if we want to talk about out rapping, are we talking about velocity? Because if that's the case, nobody can out-rap Twister. You know, nobody can out-rap Busta Rhymes when he starts doing his double takes. You know, so what does that really mean? I don't understand what the term out-rapping somebody means. But overall, I do feel that Eminem did outshine Jay-Z. I don't think he crushed him, because there is value to Jay-Z's verse that really makes the track what it is. I think to suggest that he outshines him would suggest that Eminem put Jay-Z on his back on the song, and that's not the case at all. If you want to hear a case of somebody putting someone on their back on a song, listen to Body in the Trunk with Nas and Noriega. That was Nas putting Noriega on his back, because Noriega's just not lyrically there with Nas, and you know, they're going back and forth. So Nas is going to have to do the heavy lifting. So I don't think it means that Jay-Z's verses were terrible in comparison to Eminem. It just means that in this particular track, Eminem's technique was enough to outshine Jay-Z's poetic approach. 5 times out of 10, if they make a song together, it's gonna be 50-50. It's going to be, because they do what they each do so well. I know that's not something that you guys want to hear, because a lot of you are stuck to this Magna Carta, to this, to this post-Black album Jay-Z, and you just can't fathom that ever being anything remotely close to what Eminem could do. But there's definitely some truth to that. What do you guys think about this verse? I'm sure this is the classic track that you guys have heard. And if you have hip-hop questions, I've got hip-hop answers. Again, send me your name, where you're from. Follow me on Snapchat at d.respect. That's d.respect. Send me a message, and I will answer it on this segment next week. And I will see you guys next time.